the waste material that is there in our homes, maybe the slippers, maybe the what we take for taking cold drink, etc., the straw, using such tires, tubes, each one of them has been converted into a gadget to understand a scientific principle. How much air do we breathe? Take a balloon and then find out the capacity of our lungs. You have how does a tire or tube work, how convexity, concavity can be understood. So I think these are wonderful experiments created through the toys by Mr. Arvind Gupta long ago. He has spent his lifetime after having graduated from IIT Kanpur and working only for a couple of years, he has done it. Very recently, another person from Kanpur IIT itself, now in IIT Gandhinagar, who is Manish Jain, he has been developing again another level of equipment, instruments, and lot of products that are created using tools which are available in the machinery of the IITs, and they are all mathematics related ones. How do you understand mathematics? Otherwise, these subjects in schools and high schools, many students feel very, very boring, very difficult, and therefore they distaste them, in fact. And therefore, learning and teaching of science is very fundamental and important for our faculty as well as for students. And that's why I'm giving this just two concrete examples. But come to the new education policy, NEP 2020, which I would like to say a little bit, is about total empowerment of our entire citizenry, right from the early childhood education. That means at the age of 3, when the child enters. So far, we used to have the class 1 at the age of 6, but the new policy talks about getting students in at the age of 3 itself. The first 3 years, in fact, not 3 years, it is going to be 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. The first 5 years, that means the current second standard, up to that time, the children are to be not having any pressure or tension on their minds. Very fundamental. Today, we find that when a child enters the school, so many languages, 3 language formula, so you have to learn the script, you have to write, read, and then a lot of mathematics. Everything starts from the day 1, and some of the children whom some background is there at homes will take away, but rest of them will find it very difficult. And therefore, these first 5 years in the new program is supposed to be highly enjoyable, through stories, through games, through toys, through going into the nature, looking at butterflies, looking at plants, looking at how agriculture happens. I think that is where students get interested, especially in education, and that too science education. Because ultimately science is nothing but nature. Whatever is there in nature is being observed in science. And then when you know the principles of science and apply them to practice, to do something which is useful to society, which is useful to mankind, that becomes technology or that becomes engineering. So science and technology are wedded together, and therefore observation, which we are able to do through our 5 senses. The most important sense is that of eyesight. We see the things, we observe them, and then the sounds, the listening to some other people, through the ears, the smell which we take through our nose. So about different chemicals and how they are smelling and what is happening with them. The taste, sometimes we taste some of this thing, and the touch. These are 5 fundamental senses which Almighty has given to us. If we make use of them, then science is automatically ingrained. And what we call scientific temperament also automatically comes in. So I think we don't have to emphasize on this more. So after this 5 years, the next 3 years in the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system in the new education policy talks about starting with all variety of these 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Students should be conversant with reading, writing skills. That is important. Without that, we cannot progress. So there are huge number of books available, literature available, both on the internet as well as physical books. So unless we are able to read, we will not be able to understand and learn ourselves. And therefore, that part is also important. So the grammar, understanding of the language, this will all start happening, reading, writing, with more emphasis on mathematics, which is little more higher in the next 3 years. The next 3 years, which is after the 8 years of education, at the age of 11 onwards, the skilling starts, and that's where now I'm coming and linking with the today's topic. So the skill will not wait till someone completes his degree or while he is doing engineering education, but the skill should start right at the age of 11 onwards. Maybe very elementary skills. Maybe someone who is interested in carpentry may try with woodworking. Someone who is interested in maybe welding can try on welding. Someone who is interested in AI can do even artificial intelligence. Someone who is interested in computer programming can start learning. So skills need not be only high-end skills, need not be only low-end skills. So someone who is interested in horticulture can see how the fruit trees are grown or how vegetables are grown in agriculture field. That's also a skill, a different type of a skill. There may be some skill where we use our hands in order to create a product, in terms of the pottery, in terms of sculpting, in terms of creating some artifact, in terms of textile, in terms of designs, all of these are also skills. The skills may start from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. So initial flavor is given in those 3 years, and that will create interest, hands-on work, the difficulties that are associated with each one of them, giving importance to those people who do those skills. That means if I get a graduate degree, postgraduate degree, I should not be feeling that I am a very great man, whereas a person who does that work is also important in our society, in our life. That dignity of labor is also understood if we have done ourselves. The difficulty involved is realized by the children, and therefore skilling will start at the age of that 11, that means the previous 3 years. And in the last 4 years, you can become an expert in one or two of the skills. Thereby, a student will become employable. And I asked in the beginning, what is the age group of the children who are there selected in this spot competition? That is from 14 to 18. That means present our 9th standard, 10th standard, 11th standard, and 12th standard, present one. In the new policy, they are equivalent to the last 4 stage of the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Age group is same, but then it is maybe standard, you can call it as 15, 14, 13, and 12, according to if you are entering in the age of 3, or we may still call it as 9, 10, 11, 12, doesn't matter, but it is the same age group. So this is the age group where skilling is going to be given even more emphasis than in the previous 3 years in the new education policy. So all the people who are there in the present group, you are the ones who are leading the skill movement of India. If we are talking about, our Prime Minister is talking about Skill India movement, who are the right candidates? You are the right candidates. You are the starting point, and that's why this skilling is important. But I am given a topic which is not skilling, but talked about upskilling through innovation, and that is very interesting. So that means you have to realize that whatever skills you earn today may not be sufficient in your future. These skills are certainly necessary to teach you something, you learn something out of that, you will make use of it, you will become employable. Some of you can become an entrepreneur also, but that is not good enough. You must understand that learning has to never stop. Learning is lifelong. No one should say at whatever age, even at the age of 65 like me, or Dr. Kalam when he was around 75, he was saying that I am still learning, and the learning will go till the time of our death. We start learning from our birth and continue learning till our death. And therefore, this upskilling word is very important. So not only that you should give emphasis on skilling, but as and when new technologies emerge, you should always keep on upskilling yourself. If you don't, you will become irrelevant in the industry. You will become irrelevant in the society. So for example, there was a skill which was called as a typing skill. So I don't know, where some of our young children may not even know that there was something called typewriter. In our childhood, there used to be a skill called typewriting skill. And there used to be a speed of 40 or 60 per minute. And one who has higher speed was rated as a highly skilled typist, and then he would get a very excellent job. There were also people who were taking shorthand by hand. They were all skills. But today they have lost their meaning, because today we don't require a typewriter. We do not require a cyclostyle operation. We have Xerox machines which take care of reproducing the document. We have the computer where word processing is possible using Microsoft or any other software, and you will be able to type in, and you don't require a typewriting specialist actually, and you become so fast. I have seen children on their mobile, the keyboard is so small, and on that, the way, the speed with which they type in, I am amazed. We can't even do it in a big keyboard, that they do it on a small keyboard, on the mobile itself. That means this is a skill which has changed its attributes, and you can use not necessarily all the 8 or 10 fingers we used to use for typewriting. Today we use only 2 fingers. Some of them use only 1 finger and still operate it. I think that is phenomenal. So the skills will change. And so the technologies which both Suchitra as well as Sean told in the beginning, that of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, machine learning, robotics, drones, electronic vehicles or EVs or electric vehicles, deep learning, we have augmented reality, virtual reality, we have blockchain, we have cloud computing, we have quantum computing, we have cyber security, we have data analytics. If you name all of these are all skills which were not heard of when I was graduating. Or even forget about my graduating, when I was teaching, even in an IIT, these words were not there. They came only in the last 10 years or so, and they became very popular in the last couple of years. And if you don't know one of these, that means you are almost like an illiterate. If you say that today I don't know computer programming, or if you don't know word processing, if you are not able to use Excel sheet, that means you are illiterate for all practical purposes. And therefore, these skills are completely continuously changing, and therefore your upskilling has to be constant. And that is where now innovation comes in. How innovation comes in, I will come back a little later. So we have all these skills which are in the form of our National Skill Qualification Framework. Earlier it was called as National Vocational Education Qualification Framework. We have now what is known as NSQF. There are 10 levels. And the level starts with 9th and 10th equivalent is level 1 and 2. So some of you are in 9th and 10th. So I am telling your skills will be equivalent to level 1 and level 2, whatever they may be. Then those who are in the 11th and 12th, that is equivalent to level 3 and 4. So all of you are from level 1 to 4 category of people for skills. So you pick up any skill which is there in the National Skill Qualification Framework, in all varieties, in automotive, in terms of marketing, in terms of digital technologies, in terms of, as I said, even IoT, AI, they are all categorized at level 1, 2, 3, 4, and which is what you are. And when you continue in that skill domain to level 5, you will earn a diploma in vocation. If you continue to level 7, you will get a degree in vocation. If you continue on 8th and 9th, you will get a post-graduation in vocational education. And if you do 10th level, means you are equivalent to a PhD, doctorate in vocational education. So these are all associated with skilling or upskilling. On the other side, there is general education. So the policy now talks about integrating both skill education and general education. We should not unnecessarily categorize and say that this fellow is a skill type of a labor or manpower, and this fellow is a white-collared fellow with a computer or air-conditioned building atmosphere, someone on the shop floor, someone here. I think that distinction should vanish as early as possible. Give importance. Ultimately, we also say work is worship. If work is worship, what work we are doing, how does it matter? As long as the work which is assigned to me is done exceptionally well, with high quality, with efficiency, I think that should be rated as the best. And someone who is substandard with all kind of degrees is no use actually for the society and for himself, herself, society, his family, her family. And therefore, this work is worship, which in our ancient tradition, I just remember suddenly Bhagavad Gita, we say Karma Yoga. This is Karma Yoga. And there is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is not just singing of some hymns and songs, but dedication. Bhakti is dedication. If you do your work with great dedication, with the karma, which means you are ready to do work by hand, and you want to earn knowledge in the process, that is Jnana Yoga. So when you have all three, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga, that means in a different context from the dedication, hard work and earning knowledge. That is what is upskilling, and this is innovation. And how do we do it? Today, we are empowered with the use of available internet and technology. So earlier, this was easier said than done. If you have to earn a skill, you have to physically go to a place under a guru or whatever you call teacher, you have to learn it. Today, our teacher many times is our computer. Our teacher is the internet. Our teacher is the www. Our teacher is the YouTube. Our teacher is the Facebook. Our teacher is the WhatsApp. Of course, sometimes WhatsApp wrong messages are sent. That's a different thing. We should be aware and be cautious about, many fake things being spread by the WhatsApp. Many times people call WhatsApp university. That is a poor sense of looking at it. But this same technology is useful for giving a lot of good content also to each other. During the pandemic, if a student did not have internet connectivity, a teacher could have sent a full lesson on WhatsApp. How a particular skill can be learned can be sent as a video. I think it is up to us to use the technology in the right manner. See, technology is not distinguishing which is good and bad part of it. It is our values, our ethics, our morals, our integrity which make use of the available technology in the best possible manner. And that's why today innovation is the key. All countries of the world are talking about innovation. There are also ministries of innovation in many countries. So how innovation can help? All of that what I said today just now can be learned through the use of, as I said, the technology. By being at home, need not go to a school or a college or a university. There are a large number of edutech companies which have come up by providing this content, some of them free, some of them at a nominal cost, some of them very high cost also. So we have to be cautious. Again, children should not get cheated. So you have to look at which one of those are capable of giving me the right education of what I need, and is it sufficient, is it good enough? And if it is so, I must adhere to that. We should make use of it. So AICT itself started a portal called NEET. This NEET is different from the NEET examination because these are all 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th candidates. Some of them interested in medical education also take NEET exam. So that NEET is a NEET entrance exam. There are students who will be taking JEE main and JEE advanced exam. But this our NEET is National Educational Alliance for Technologies. So there are a lot of companies, big and small, startups also, as big as Microsoft, as big as, IBM, all of them, have their own certification programs. They teach their technologies and at a small cost or sometimes free. They give free because once you start learning them at your young age, you will become employable. You will go to a company to do job. You will buy there. The commercial products are all sellable. They are not available free. They are available free only for the school children, college children, etc. So that they learn those. So there are some. Some are there where there is a price tag associated, and these are by small and big, as I said. Even startups. A student who just graduated 2 years ago, they have started their own creative ideas into product and provide you skills in communication, skills in learning a language such as say C programming, such as that of the AI, learning Internet of Things, learning machine learning, learning robotics, learning, as I said, all these new age skills. There are companies, products who allow you to train yourself by going through a process of learning, and these are all themselves, some of them AI based. When I say artificial intelligence based, it gives you certain questions, and by answering them, And when your answers are seen by the computer, by that particular software, it understands your level of learning, how much background preparation you already know. Accordingly, it will ask you to navigate a journey to become better and better. And by the end of the program, all those who knew something or who did not know something, all of them will be at the same level of outcomes. They are capable of doing the same thing. They will be able to write a code in Python. All of them. If someone had some background, he will also write, capable of writing the code or programming, others also. So I think these are the kind of products which have come in the market. There is a price tag, and therefore for every 4 students who learn, one is given free by the companies, which we give to those students who cannot afford that 5,000 also. See, some poor student will not be able to afford even that 5,000 rupees, which is a small amount. But someone else who is able to pay that 5,000 and learn, let them learn. So that is how this whole platform is created. So I think this is one part. Some of you in the next 1 or 2 years will come into higher education, and we welcome you into the higher education sector, whether it is in IITs, NITs, or state engineering colleges, private or government, wherever, or in medical college, in pharmacy college, architecture, science college, doing your BSc, MSc. So all of you require this upskilling. Upskilling is a constant process. What skill exists today will not exist tomorrow. What knowledge today is there will change, and you require to earn the new knowledge. And that's why it is only through innovation we can do it. And this innovation, as I said, is through, one is portals. The other one is through what is known as internships. So please understand, internships are very important. In some of the countries of the world, the college education or university education is embedded with mandatory internship. In our country also, it may not be in the first year or second year, but certainly no medical college graduate will get a degree unless after the university examination is over, goes through a process of 1 year internship in a hospital, where along with a senior doctor, he moves around, checks the patients, he knows how to do everything, and only then he gets a degree to try on new patients. Till then he is not entitled. Whereas in many other domains, like I am learning accountancy, so without doing any job, I will apply for a job in the bank, and after going into the bank or LIC or somewhere, they will say, you don't know so much, you don't know how to create a balance sheet. So I think internship is important for commerce students as much as science students, physics, chemistry. How our students who are doing their 11th, 12th onwards in BSc or MSc should get attached with some of the top universities or IIT, IISc Bangalore, ICERS, and then go and spend at least 2 months during vacation, 2 times, 3 times, or 1 full semester if the university curriculum allows, so that you get hands-on training on the subject. In engineering, you can go to an industry. Science students also can go to an industry. There are industries in optics. There are lens making companies. Optics student, physics student can go there. Student of physics in lasers can go to a laser industry. And similarly, a student of mechanical engineering can go to Maruti Udyog or Tata Steel or Tata Motors. Or a student of computer science can go to Infosys or Wipro or somewhere else. So I think this learning is also skilling. It is also upskilling. What is happening in industry today has to be learned, has to be understood. And if we are not able to do it, we will become irrelevant. And therefore, this constant skilling, which I am often referring to, is important. That's why we are advocating that all colleges must have MOU with at least 5 industries, and wherein they will be able to send their students for internship. We are doing another thing. Each college in their neighborhood should also select 5 villages. 5 villages, adopt them. Why is it important? Because unless our students go to those places, maybe in a big city nearby there is no village, you may go to a slum, doesn't matter. But there you will see the challenges that the society is facing in terms of clean water, in terms of hygiene, in terms of education, in terms of healthcare, in terms of use of whatever they are using. So that gives you a lot of ideas. And that idea and innovation will make you to upskill yourself to solve the problem. And therefore, upskilling and innovation are two things which are so significant and important that we may go to a slum or we may go to a village nearby, we will understand the problems and challenges that we are facing. Today, all of us in the cities are facing the pollution problem. Pollution due to the vehicles, the pollution due to the industries which are nearby. How do we control that? That can also happen by upskilling. How do we take care of some of those chemicals which are emanated to be controlled? And we have another important thing. There is a new terminology which is coming up. We used to call don't waste anything. Use, reuse, recycle. Please remember all these words. If we have to be sustainable, we use these words: use, reuse, recycle. We don't want to waste anything, and that is our culture. In fact, India is probably one of the countries in our homes. In some corner of the home, there are so many unused and unwanted things lying, and we keep on cribbing sometimes that it has been creating nuisance. But some of those items sometimes are so valuable. You don't get them even in the market. So use, reuse, recycle is one principle, and therefore circular economy is a new word which is coining up. So how we should not waste anything which is available, including the waste which we often talk about can be converted into fertilizer, can be converted into energy, which is so useful. So I think innovation is very important. Upskilling is important. So I think I've been going on. This will create two important things. Education will lead to employability. Education will also lead to entrepreneurship. And we should take care of environment all the time. Remember environment, otherwise we will leave the planet in a worse shape than what we inherited, and our future generation will curse. Present generation is already cursing the earlier generation like us, that you spoiled the whole planet, and our young generation is more significantly very sensitive about it. I have met with many young students in the school and high school, right from their small projects which they do at the class 3, class 7, class 8. I know all these 9th and 12th standard students, none of them will say that we should spoil the environment. I will challenge if anyone is saying that they should spoil. So that means they have already been facing the music of the bad things which we did at elder generation. So let us transform. So keeping track of environment is also an important skill. How do we make the environment much better than what it is today? The ozone layer problem, the problem of sustainability, the problem of, as I said, sustainable education to educate the entire industry, waste being not avoided, all of that is part of this. All of this also should lead naturally to economy and jobs, so no doubt about it. So all these skills are going to be absolutely useful for creating jobs, for creating entrepreneurship, and therefore please be a constant lifelong learner, self-learner, keep skilling yourself, be innovative, and you will make the nation proud, the world proud. Thank you very much. Now there are a lot of questions, I'm sure, and I would like to answer them.
Thank you so much, sir. It was such an honor to listen to you. If I could quickly summarize and put together what you said, I like how you started off with, drawing parallels between the 4 parts of yoga. So you started with, you have Jnana Yoga, which is the path of knowledge, which is something that we all focus on as a country. Everybody wants to be educated. People who are blessed are given the opportunity to be enrolled in schools, and that's how it starts. But then after a certain point, there is sort of, we reach a plateau. How do we go above that path of knowledge and take on to the path of action, which is karma yoga? A lot of youth in our country are educated, they have the knowledge, but why aren't they getting jobs? Why aren't they employable? And I think that gap is when we focus on skill development, where you sort of become employable, where you put your knowledge into action so that you can actually execute it and then become employable. But you also spoke about going a step further, where your skills have to be relevant. Like you gave a very apt example of typewriting or shorthand typing, where it is not relevant. So how do we upskill the skills that we have learned and keep with the times? And if I may say so with utmost humility, so I think you have completely upskilled yourself, because this presentation focused on you making it relevant for our students today. You gave us an outline of the NEP and how it is divided into different branches, and how our students at this level can take in from the new education policy which has been made for them. And you even gave us resource persons to look to, like you suggested, Mr. Arvind Gupta and Mr. Manish Jain, which I'm sure most of our students are going to look up. um, so that was really helpful, and most of all, the dignity with which we have to look at skill work. Like you said, we need not focus only on high end skills like artificial intelligence and coding and design and entrepreneurship and all of that, and not look down upon skills that are like carpentry or something you do with your hands, because if you look at it, it's all catering to the needs of each of us. And you very, very well put it in your starting, where you said science is nature and application of science is technology. I really like the way you put it, and I think that summarized your entire talk today. So it was an absolute honor to listen to you. We will quickly move into the question and answer session. Suhasini, if you could kindly share this screen. There were a lot of interesting questions, but due to paucity of time, we obviously won't be able to address all of these questions, but we will take the most relevant.
See, you can read and ask questions in between. I'm also going through the chat. Is it on the chat or there is a separate question?
No, it's on the chat box, sir. If you may allow me, I can read out the name of the student. They can pose your question.
Yeah,
so the first, please go ahead, sir.
No, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, the first question we have is from Rishabh Shah. Rishabh, I hope you can unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Sir, my question is that how can we ensure the benefits of upskilling, the policies of upskilling reach everyone? So basically, how can we ensure that it is implemented at the grassroots level, that the upskilling policies?
So as I said, upskilling is not just for students, but it is also being faced by the industry. Whatever skills exist today, if they are not important today and there are new skills which have emerged, even industry have to retrain their employees. So there is a need for all sectors, even in industry or in the schooling. How do we reach out? Today, fortunately, the internet is a leveling force. Unlike in the past, you have to physically move and spend a lot of money to go and stay there. Today, skill can come at your doorstep, on your computer, on your laptop, on your mobile phone. And therefore, skilling is one of the things which we can easily do, as far as some of the elements where the physical machine is required. Of course, that skill you will have to learn only by going to a particular place, but otherwise most other skills which I mentioned can be learned by being at your home and at much lower cost, and we are taking care of giving it to the people who cannot afford, free of cost also.
Thank you, sir. Rishabh, I hope that answered your question. We have another question from Sri Jyoti Dage. Sri Jyoti, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself. Otherwise, I would have to read out the question. Sri Jyoti? All right, sir. So I will quickly read out her question. So she said that if innovation would create jobs in the future, isn't there also a threat of technology replacing jobs? What would your opinion be on this?
See, this is a problem which everyone keeps on talking about. But what we have observed, is it audible?
Yes, sir.
So the technologies, whenever they come in, people always have this fear that this technology may take away the jobs. But this has never happened. When the computers came for the first time, all people in the banking, insurance, and all these sectors, offices, they thought that the computers will take away the jobs because we had those typewriters, which I said in the beginning. But it did not happen. In fact, the number of opportunities using computers enlarged the scope. And similarly, all these applications like AI, IoT, machine learning will create new jobs which may take away some existing jobs but will generate very many large number of new jobs. And that is why this upskilling word is important. If you are skilled, fine, that skill will be useful for the next 5 years, 10 years. But beyond that, if some new skill is required, you need to upskill yourself.
I totally agree with you on that, sir, because nowadays the most important requirement is flexibility. How flexible you are in your process, that much of opportunities you have. So kids need not worry what would be the future. You just need to be flexible according to the time, as sir rightly put it. You just need to go on with the kind of changes. And more importantly, whatever you learn, you hold it with you. Don't just throw it at one point of time. Maybe we are using the skills which we would have learned at a very earlier point of time in life. So definitely you hold on to your learning in a very serious way. Just don't use it after your first term, I forget it. After the second term, yes, I forgot what I learned in the first term. That should not be the approach. Yeah. Siobhan, proceed.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Our next question that we have is from Adra. Adra, can you unmute your mic and pose your question? All right, I will quickly read out Adra's question. Her question is upskilling with regards to gaining practical experience really possible with our current education system, or should our education system be changed even more?
Obviously, Adra, the system need to change, and that's why this new education policy has come for empowering all of this. So it will take a little bit time, 1 or 2 years, till it is fully implemented. Till then, this issue will always keep reminding us that we need to change as fast as possible in order to empower our students for not only skilling but reskilling as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. In fact, that brings us to the next question. One of the students has asked, what is the difference between reskilling and upskilling?
See, upskilling is on a same skill, you are upgrading the type of skill which has emerged now. Whereas reskilling is that whole skill might have been completely uprooted, therefore you need to reskill in a different domain. Uh, Upskilling is probably the skill which is already existing has gone one step ahead, and I have to keep pace with that technology. And whereas the reskilling is whatever skilling I have done is no more useful, so I have to completely reskill myself.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Deepnil Ray, could you pose your next question?
Good evening, sir. My question was that we are for moving towards an era of AI development, and AI is taking on over our technologies at a large scale. But are these AIs are accordance with the Asimov laws? Means the laws that were posted by the person who wrote the basic laws of robotics. And are this development taking in the right way that AI should develop, or is there any other way there?
See, AI is ultimately artificial intelligence. The intelligence of the man is trying to be reflected in those whatever coding we are doing. That means our past experience will create the new experience. And that's why when AI is written, it always will keep on changing itself based on what new things are getting delivered. So it will not be constant. It is always a continuous process. So do we not learn something at the age of 1, which we change at the age of 2, then age of 10, at the age of 18? So same way, AI tools also will keep on upgrading themselves. The new laws will get evolved actually in the process. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Deepnil, I hope that answered your question. Our next question is from Jebin. Jebin, can you please unmute yourself and pose your question? Right. In the meantime, there is a question that Ananya Norona has asked. Ananya, if you could please pose your question. I will be reading out Ananya's question. So Ananya, yes, please go ahead.
Yes. So my question was around the ancient scientific knowledge and processes and their relevance or integration with modern innovation. So many times they seem to be conflicting rather than complementing each other. And even though we know ancient knowledge and skills are much more valuable, in the name of innovation and modernization, we seem to be losing that knowledge. I mean, nowadays, is there a way to integrate them?
Ananya, you are absolutely right, and that's why Ministry of Education has started a division called as Indian Knowledge Systems Division, and it is, by the way, located in AICT. So I'm part of the whole thing. The new education policy also talks about ancient wisdom that is there. But please remember two important facts. Not all that what was in the past, that wisdom may be useful today. So whatever is useful should be taken forward and further developed. And whatever does not have value today based on the changes that have happened in the last 5,000-6,000 years, we should leave them out. I think that rationality is the most important thing. If we have that, then someone keep on cribbing about not being useful, etc., is also wrong. And someone saying that everything that was there was always useful and why are you doing modern science is also wrong. So I think we have to have a judicious judgment about which of those are very useful even today. For example, all said and done, today we have realized that Ayurveda and yoga are useful. People had rejected them. Today everyone is talking about Ayurveda and yoga, which will not affect the mankind. It will create sustainable health systems, and therefore everyone all over the world are adopting it. Not only that, our systems used to have vegetarianism. Many Western countries, European countries are moving towards that. So I think many of the past knowledge, whether it is the use of our turmeric, use of many products which are used in our kitchen, they are all medicinal in some way or the other. People are starting to realize. So, but what is that property in that? Why did it become helpful? Unless we do further research in that and develop more plants out of which we can create all these new products, that knowledge will get extinguished. And that's why relevance of that certainly exists. How do we make it relevant, useful to today and even tomorrow is what we need to do. And that is what is science. Science is not stagnant. Even what Newton said was not final. Einstein did something else. Someone else will come with a string theory, which is also in the process. So many things will keep changing. And same is the case with Indian knowledge system. Take it forward. Don't just reject anything. Study it. If it is useful and acceptable, continue with it. And even rigorously, you continue further research in that.
Thank you so much, sir. That was very, very well put together. Our next question is from Tanmay. Tanmay, can you unmute your mic, please, and pose your question?
Good evening to everyone over here. Sir, I would like to ask that in other countries, learning is done through practical skills and technology. So my suggestion is, should in India be done like this to have education system that have practical skills, either to learn the things that are written in the book that can upgrade our mind, because our mind can read the pictures better than the words that are there in the books.
So this is already well known, and that's why quite often we talk about experiential learning, internship based learning, project based learning. All of these are very significant. Therefore, there is no second opinion about it. You have to conduct experiment, observe the nature, and you will learn a great deal rather than theoretical knowledge which is earned in the classroom on the blackboard or in the PowerPoint presentation. So a lot of opportunities are to be created for that. Not everyone can have that, and that's why the government is trying to use all variety of technologies that are available at our disposal to help you in doing that. Okay.
Yes.
Suchitra ji, I think I have another meeting, so in 1 or 2 minutes we will.
I think we should wind up, sir, by now.
No, there are hundreds of questions. I think one suggestion is.
What I believe is they can actually post all the questions. We can forward it to you, and we can make an FAQs and connect back to all of them.
Correct. That's my suggestion. And if on this platform, if there are questions which are there, if you save them and then create a bank of questions, and we will answer them and post it on your website, so that all children who have so much of inquisitiveness That has to be satisfied. Otherwise, we are failing in our duties.
Absolutely, sir. So we will do like how you have suggested. We will share it to you, and we will take the answers and we will post it back, sir.
So thank you, Suchitra, for that wonderful.
It's always a delight to hear you. In fact, I was also making notes on certain things what you mentioned. So I was just looking in whether children are making the notes, and I'm very glad to see that you are also making the notes, because you are the future. And to hear it from people like sir, it is only a one-time opportunity. I hope it will be many more opportunities for all of you. In fact, sir, it was a delight to have you. Indeed, a delight to hear you. And more importantly, connect with students from across the country. They are from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. There is no exaggeration to Kashmir to Kanyakumari and west to east. And there's so much of talent. There is no doubt we have talent. It is just that we need to root the talent in the right direction. And your questions really talk about the amount of knowledge you have gained through your process of learning science. So thank you very much, sir. Connect with you very soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was an absolute honor.
We have to meet someday in person. That is important.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, we will. We will, sir.
Okay.
And we really love that picture which is there, the great four eminent people who shaped the nation.
Yeah,
The one behind
So,
you.
right. They are always behind me. I always keep them.
All right,
Oh,
sir. Thank you very much.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Students, kindly stay on. I will quickly be briefing you about our next session. Just
Before that, while you are playing the slide, let me tell you all these questions which are extremely relevant. I was also just going through the chat box, kids. All of them are extremely relevant. We would answer back and we will post it. You can just go through it. We'll put it as an FAQ or something whenever you want to refer to. You can go through, because that would, quench your thirst for knowledge. Okay. And one more thing I would like to tell you is that this is just the first session. You will have 4 more sessions, and I do not want any one of you to miss the sessions. Try to connect as much as possible through the sessions, because every branch of science will give you a new dimension in thinking. Every branch of science will give you a new idea as to what you want to pursue, because you are at the most prime time of your learning. This is the right time where you make a decision as to what you want to do, because after 4 or 5 years, you decide I want to be something, it's not going to be possible. So keep all the possibilities open, so that we see great scientists, great doctors, great engineers, great teachers, and everything great from all of you. You're around 435. That is the larger ambition we all nurture in this field of science. So now handing over back to Siobhan.
Thank you, ma'am. So please, we will take in all your questions. We will save the most relevant questions on today's session, and we will see how we can answer all of them. Let us know how you like this program. You can like, share, comment, follow us on these links. I know some of you had asked me where you can access our Facebook page, but this is the name, VSSF Kochi. You can go in there and you can find your content from which questions will be asked for your final exam. 5% of those questions come from the content that has been posted on the Facebook page. Your next session is on the 17th of February between 5 and 6:30 p.m. And our theme for that session is neurology, and the keynote speaker is Dr. Anand Kumar, who is the HOD of the Department of Neurology at AIIMS Kochi. So I hope to see all of you on Thursday, 17th, and please be on time, and we will see you there. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a good evening.